Welcome, dear learners. Now on to the 9th module of the course, which is on counseling, goals and strategies, with particular reference to the primary, high school and the higher secondary school level. With an understanding of the concept, objectives and principles of school counseling, this module is about to explain the goals and strategies of school counseling at three major levels of school education as per the Indian system of education. The Indian system of education divides the whole of schooling as primary, that's the first level, up for 6 to 12-year-old children, and then the second is the high school level, which is for 13 to 15-year-old children, and then comes the higher secondary for 16 and 17-year-old. In the perspective of lifespan development, the school counseling encompasses a period of late childhood, early adolescence and middle adolescence period. As each of the stage is unique and the developmental needs are distinctive, the school counseling goals and strategies also should change accordingly to be more effective. Hence, this module that comes to you in the form of 3 videos is all set to explore the developmental needs of each of the stage, namely primary, high school and higher secondary school years, and how the school counseling program could address those needs and facilitate the students to become a productive and happy individual. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand the unique characteristics of children in their late childhood years, realize the distinctive developmental needs of students of primary school aged children, gain insights into how a primary school counseling program can be devised based on the specific developmental needs, and comprehend the role of primary school counselors at every stage of counseling. The primary school system, as I already told you, the primary school system of India has 2 levels. One is the lower primary and the second is upper primary. Lower primary is for the children of 6 to 10-year-old children, 10-year-old, and then the lower primary school has got 5 standards, that is class 1 to class 5. And the upper primary school is for the 11 and 12-year-old children. And it has got only 2 standards, namely class 6 and class 7. It is in this period of primary schooling a child begins to develop academic self-concept. In the psychological front, a child develops confidence and competence as a learner. He or she develops key life skills, namely decision making, problem solving, and most importantly, communication skills. It is at this stage that the child starts to show their acquired character and learn values that can guide them. Upon all, a child of this age begins to acquire attitude towards himself, peers, school, family, and his society. As proposed by Erikson, the lifespan at the primary school years focus at the central developmental task called industry versus inferiority. The prime danger to development in this stage is inferiority, which is nothing but a sense of inadequacy. And this results from not being recognized for the efforts made by the individual. The psychological needs of love and esteem, along with physiological and safety needs, has to be provided by a dependable and stable environment. In other words, primary school years is the interaction between industry or competence of the child and the capacity of the environment that is being provided in terms of love and esteem needs. As children of primary school age spend 1/3 of their waking hours in the school, and as they are in the formative period, the school environment is set to determine their overall growth and well-being. Hence, the school environment becomes a major ecological system of a primary school child with 3 subsystems embedded within it. The systems are opportunity structure, support structure, and reward structure. Let us see each one in detail. Opportunity structure is nothing but the set of tasks or situations or problems which are referred as opportunities through which the child learns to do things and be competent with needed control. Few examples are puzzles, arithmetic problems, etc. that is posed for the child. And now what is support structure? It is a second subsystem of the classroom environment. This structure is very specific to resources available for the child to cope up with stress. The resources are either a relationship or affective structure or cognitive structure. The relationship factors are the factors that provide warmth, empathy, and acceptance. The cognitive factor is the ability for the child to understand, label, and predict stress determinants. Then on to the third structure, the reward structure. It is a third subsystem and that determines the motivational level of the child as it bridges the effort put and the need satisfaction for the effort. By realizing the importance of the school ecosystem and its subsystems for a primary school child, the next question of how to provide a dependable, secured and stable environment need to be explored. Though the class tutors or the subject teachers could provide support, guidance and follow-up for the child, the constancy in guidance with analytical approach on the interaction of the three subsystems of school environment will be made possible only by primary school counselors. Counseling at primary school level is a proactive measure to pave an ideal pathway for the child to acquire needed knowledge, skills and attitude. In other words, school counseling at primary school level is an integrated program aiming at the holistic development of children up to standard 7. But who are primary school counselors? They are educators who are specially trained in child development, teaching learning strategies and life skills. Their key role is to understand and promote success among children by supporting them at this very important stage of lifespan. At a primary school level, the counseling services to be provided are classified into two broad categories. One is direct and the second is the indirect services. The direct services are instruction. Instruction is how to get involved in teaching or facilitating the learning process of needed psychological and coping skills. The second direct service is appraisal. It is to assess the student's background, abilities, aptitude, attitude, interest and achievement through certain test materials. The third direct service is to be provided as advisement. By analyzing the appraisal data, guiding the child to bridge any lacunae identified and help them to develop their self-esteem is advisement. And the fourth direct services of primary school counselor is counseling itself. Counseling can be given for a small group or it can be individualistic. It is to assist a young child during a crisis, transition period, unexpected situations, stress, etc. Of all, counseling should respond to the student's mental health needs. Now, what are the indirect services to be provided by primary school counseling? First one is consultation. To support student achievement and holistic development and to share appropriate strategies with class tutors, subject teachers to school administrators and parents becomes the role of counselor in indirect counseling. The second is collaboration. The counselors should try to scaffold the child's development by working together with class tutors, subject teachers, school administrators, parents, and significant others of the child. The third most important indirect service is what we call it as referrals. In case of any additional assistance or information needed in promoting the child's development, referral services has to be provided. Now let us look into the process of counseling primary school children. It's a 4-step process. First step is to identify the student needs. The counselor should focus on the developmental needs of children as a whole and recognize the individualistic needs in particular. The second step is to develop a counseling program. Consult with the school administrator and develop a counseling program by addressing the academic, socio-emotional and personal needs of the child. The program thus developed should be in accordance with the school's academic, attendance and discipline data. The third step in primary school counseling is delivery of service. The delivery method of the program that has been developed should be carefully monitored as different children learn in different ways. Provide education, prevention, early identification and intervention aiming at wholesome development of children. The last process is nothing but the evaluation. A periodic evaluation of the developed program should be carried out to detect any gaps and to map the goal with the outcome of the program. When I say outcome, what are the expected outcomes of counseling children at this level? First outcome that has to be achieved is looking into the academic success. Second is to develop the social and emotional skills of these children and to make these children feel confident and competent enough. Hope this video would give you an understanding of the developmental needs of a primary school age child, the need, the role and the responsibilities of a counselor as well as the process of counseling at this stage. The next video will deal with the high school counseling. Till then, meet you. Bye.